Okay, sit yourself on your lift and then come into a good cross-legged position with your seat bones evenly level. So let me switch my microphone on. I forgot to do that. Okay. Just make sure that you're feeling level at the seat bone. Hold on to your knees and lift up into the chest. Now when you lift up into the chest, do you kind of really scoop up like this? And do you kind of dish in at the lumbar? So we've got to be kind of really, we've got to always try and work with balance when we activate. We activate with observation. So lift the heart area, draw the shoulders down, draw the belly button towards the spine, draw the lower ribs towards the spine, so that that it feels much softer in the lumbar. So if you overdo one action, then often you overdo many. So lift the heart area, draw the shoulders down, lengthen the neck up into the head. Draw the lower ribs slightly towards the spine. Draw the abdomen towards the lumbar. Look down at the floor, look at something that isn't moving. Take deep, non-resistant inhalations. Allowing the chest to expand with the in-breath. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together. Lengthen from your armpits into your elbows. And then allow your eyes to gently close. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Filling the lungs evenly from the bottom to the top. Allowing the chest to expand with the in-breath and exhaling from the top of the lungs to the bottom. Consciously exhaling from both lungs evenly. Take a deep inhalation, and with the following exhalation, bring your chin down to meet the chest. Keep the shoulders down away from your ears so that your neck stays long. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Very gently raise your head. Allow your eyes to softly open. just to softly come back. Hold onto your knees. Lift up into your chest. Just observe. Make sure that you're definitely sitting on the front edge of the seat bones. But you're drawing the abdomen towards the spine at the same time. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side. Digging the back hand into the floor or into the cushion that you're sitting on. Drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders. And then come back to the centre. Hold onto your knees. Lift up into the chest, making the chest expand to accommodate the inhalation. And with the exhalation, turn to the left. Just drawing yourself across. Digging the back hand into the floor so that you stay on the front edge of the seat bones. And then gently come back to the centre. Come off your lift and then sit back on your heels. Sit back on your heels and just allow the shins to mould into the floor. Just let the shins sink into the ground. And then consciously push the shins into the floor. Push the shin bone into the shin skin so that the thighs activate. And then elevate the heart area upwards. Come forwards, hinging at the hips. Coming forwards into Adho Mukha Virasana. If the forehead doesn't reach the floor, then put a block underneath your head. If your seat bones don't stay down on your heels, then again put a block under your head. And try and push the seat bones down to the heels. Use your physical intelligence to observe the seat bones. You can't see them with your eyes, so we rely on the feeling. So the seat bones in contact with the heels, just make sure that you can feel that those are in connection. Just release your arms, just have your arms at the sides of the body. Allow there to be a little pressure on the forehead. If it becomes too much on the forehead, then consciously lengthen from your shoulders into the fingertips, just to distribute your weight. Just allowing the forehead to press into the floor. So in this position, the likelihood that your seat bones are away from your heels is pretty high. That's because you're letting your weight come forwards. If you stretch your hands into your shoulders into your hands, then it distributes the weight, but it's still tricky to get the seat bones down. So stretch your arms out again into traditional Adho Mukha Virasana and feel that the seat bones connect to the heels. Even if it's just a light, almost brushing connection, just feel that there is that connection. And lengthen from the armpits into the elbows, into the wrists, into the palms, just really opening up the back. Come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, have your hands as wide apart as your mat, have your feet as wide apart as your mat, and come up into dog down. Tightening the kneecaps. Remember that corkscrew action of the legs. The fronts of the thighs turn inwards, the backs of the thighs turn outwards. So the fronts of the thighs from the little toe to the big toe side, vice versa for the back of the legs. Fronts of the shins, the backs of the calves. So just feel the pose in 3 dimensions. Feel that there is levelness from the inside, that there's evenness of action. Evenness of activation. Continuing to take deep inhalations, deep exhalations. Step your feet forward, come up into a standing position, and then have a couple of blocks for your hands. Bring your feet as wide apart as your mat, have your toes in line with each other. Again, know that your heels are touching the edge of the mat because you can feel them touching the edge of the mat. Have your hands in your hips, tighten the kneecaps, corkscrew the legs, lift up into the heart area, and then hinge at the hips, keep the head lifted, keep the back straight, and then reach down and find the blocks. So even if you can go down lower, start high. Just observe how your body responds to the pose at the highest level, and reintroduce the breath into the pose. The breath is our energy. Feel that there is evenness of internal action. So adjust until you've got that level of internal evenness. If you can go down lower, then do. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, picking up the seat bones, projecting the chin and the chest forward. Lifting the seat bones, hitting the thighs back, projecting the chin and the chest forward. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Bring the hand into the hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. Just come up into Tadasana, lifting up into the chest. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Turning the palms all the way out. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump. Your feet nice and wide. Turn the left toes in slightly, the right leg and foot all the way out. And then come down into trikonasana. Just feel how your trikonasana is this morning. Just feel where it is. Turn the front leg turn the back leg from the inside out. So it's the opposite of Tadasana. Turn the abdomen consciously up towards the ceiling. Have a quick look down as your head over your foot. If it's over your big toe or directly over the mat, then lift the chest. Bring the head in line with the foot. And then look up again. Keep turning the legs outwards, corkscrewing the legs outwards, especially the front leg, but also with real consciousness and effort in the back leg. Reach up, come back to the centre, swap the feet around, turn the right toes in, the left leg and foot all the way out, and then begin that corkscrew action, turning the legs outwards. It's the opposite of Tadasana. Tadasana, we turn the legs inwards, but if we turn the legs inwards here, then you stick the tailbone out. So turn the legs outwards, corkscrewing all the way down into the shin. But don't forget about the back leg. That is additionally a priority. Do you remember last week when we were pushing that back foot into the wall, or the block that we were using for the wall? So keep that back leg really firmly activated. Imagine that you're pushing that foot really hard into a wall. Listen to the breath. Bring that top hand down onto the big toe side of the foot. Bring the other hand onto the little toe side of the foot. Turn the back leg all the way out, and then step or step yourself back into dog down. Turning the legs the other way around, turning the fronts of the legs inwards this time, the backs of the legs outwards. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, lifting the legs all the way up into the hip socket. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Keeping the palms flat on the floor. From holding you too long in the pose, then rest. If you can stay and maintain just a little longer, then do. And then step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. And then come back up into Tadasana. Just observe your energy. Observe how your energy has changed. Just listen to the breath. Spread the toes on the left foot. Lift your shorts a little on the left leg if you can. And then bring the right foot as high up into the thigh as you can for vrksasana. So if you need to use a wall, so you can do this with your back against the wall, or your side against the wall, or just have something nearby that just helps you to stabilize. So before you try and raise your arms, I want you to really activate the leg. Turn the front of the thigh inwards. Lift that front thigh all the way up into the hip socket. Tuck the tailbone in. Draw the belly button to the spine. Draw the lower ribs to the spine. Lift the heart area. And then raise your arms. So ideally, palms are facing each other, arms are parallel, but You can go slightly wider with your arms if you can't straighten them. Look at something that doesn't move. Breathe in through the nose, fill in the lungs from the bottom to the top. Keeping that standing leg corkscrewing all the way from the hip down into the heel, down into the foot. Okay, release your arms, release the leg, and then come back into Tadasana. So when you brought the foot back down, did you notice that the foot, whether the standing foot had turned outwards or not, or whether when you brought your foot down it was just perfectly back into Tadasana place? So just observe what happens with that standing leg. If you turn the thigh inwards, it should stay in position. Spread the toes, tighten the kneecaps, lift your shorts on the other side a little bit. So that's just so that skin on skin has got better kind of traction than skin on material. So you can always just make sure that you can keep that leg in place. So firm up the standing leg and then bring the left foot into the top of the right thigh. Turning that right thigh in, lifting the leg, lifting the thigh muscle, tucking the tailbone in, lifting the heart area, and then raise your arms. Just looking at something that doesn't move, keeping that standing leg corkscrewing. Turning the front of the thigh inwards, the back of the thigh outwards, the front of the shin inwards, the back of the calf outwards. Keeping the hips level. Just finding your balance. Breathing from the bottom of the lungs to the top, emptying the lungs from the top to the bottom. Okay, release your arms, release the leg, and again just observe, have your feet come back into perfect Tadasana, or that standing foot moved out a little. Lift up into the chest, elevate the heart area. Upwards, just feel your energy. So corkscrewing the legs, turning them inwards and then rotating them down into the heels. Okay, come down onto your knees, and we're going to do a headstand preparation. So if you know that you can do a headstand, you can just go straight to the wall and do it at the wall, but follow the kind of preparation instructions. If you're not sure if you can do a headstand, then use that caution to just listen to that caution. That's an important thing to do. We can do it in the middle of the room. But you're not going to kick up, but you're going to do the kind of the base of the pose. So you can do this by the wall as well, but you don't need to. You can do if you're just going to do the preparation stage, you can do it in the middle of the room. First of all, just come down onto your elbows. Have your elbows underneath your shoulders, and then interlock the fingers right into the webbing of the hand, stretching the fingers towards the opposite wrist. And then lengthen the little finger side away from the elbows, and then lengthen those little fingers away as you bring the hands down. Make sure that the upper wrist, the upper facing wrist, is directly over the lower facing wrist. They're not rolling out to the side. Bring the thumbs together. So you've got this open cup, and that is where you're going to place your head. So it's the top of the head, and then the base of the skull goes into the heels of the hands. Bring the chin in towards the chest, and then guide your head onto the floor, and then push the skull into the heels of the hands. Turn your toes under. Push your elbows into the floor, so there should be very little or no weight at all on your head. Push the elbows into the floor, lengthening the elbows from the armpits, and then just come into a kind of a dog downy kind of shape. Be on the tiptoes. Lift up into the chest. So just the first stage where we come into a kind of a dog down. Okay, and then come down onto your knees. So just come down onto your knees, and then just sit back on your heels. So the first question is, was there lots of weight on your head when you came into that first preparation stage? And if there is, then there shouldn't be. So just so when you make this cup with your hands, it needs to stay open. It should never close. It should stay open. It's never kind of flat like that, but it should stay open. And then you bring the base of the skull, you bring just this heel of the hand here into the base of the skull. So just bring that heel of the hand into the base of the skull, just sitting back on your heels. And then straighten the back. Straighten the back, draw the shoulder blades in, and then consciously lengthen from your armpits into your elbows, pushing your head into your hands into your head. So it's this action that we need to really encourage, and it's easier to do it this way up than it is the other way up. But if you can lengthen from the armpits into the elbows, pushing your head into your hands into your head, then you've got more chance of taking the weight away from your head. Okay, and then release. And then come back down again. So a couple of structural things. Make sure your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. If they're any wider, then then your weight will collapse. Lengthen the little finger side of the hands away, and then upper facing wrists over the lower facing wrists. Keep the fingers interlocked really firmly. And this time we're going to come up onto the elbows, but we're not going to bring the head onto the floor at all. You're going to keep push the elbows into the floor, and then have the head hovering away from the floor. So you have to lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. And this time you can walk in a little bit. So it's quite strong on the shoulders if you're not used to it, but lengthen from the armpits into the elbows. Corkscrew the legs, and the head is free of the floor. And then come down. Bend the elbows. Keep the hands where they are. So that's the action of the arms. You have to really activate those arms to keep the weight away from your head. Then bring the chin into the chest. Bring the head into the hands. And then come up onto the fingertips. Again, activate your arms really firmly so that there's very little weight on your head. And then you can walk your toes in towards your head. And at this stage, if you know that you can go up into the full headstand, then you can do the full headstand. But don't try and kick up if you're not ready. Don't try and kick up if you're in the middle of the room. Okay, and then just gently release down. And then everyone come down into Adho Mukha Virasana. So the preparation stage is part of the most important part really of the pose. Making sure that the preparation stage is confident. It feels like it's in the right place. And part of that is having weight away from your head. but that takes some learning. So you don't go upside down until you are ready. Okay, push yourself back up into the seated position. And then just sit yourself directly on the floor. Have a belt where you can reach it. Have a couple of blocks where you can reach them. And then sit yourself directly on the floor. Roll the buttock flesh out to the side and then activate your legs. Now if you kind of sink in the chest at this stage, if you can't roll onto the front of the seat bones, then sit on a folded blanket. Have the feet together, have the big toes together, and then I want you to corkscrew these legs. Same action as we were doing in Tadasana. Corkscrew the legs, have the hands at the sides of the hips, and then lift up into the heart area. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So I can usually do this quite easily without a lift underneath my seat bones, but this morning I feel like a lift under the seat bones would be beneficial. So maybe try it yourself. Sit on the folded blanket and lift up and observe how the pose feels different. Raise your arms up, roll onto the front edge of the seat bones, corkscrew the legs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, lifting up into the chest. So vrksasana, dandasana, lengthening from the hips into the heels, rotating the fronts of the legs so that the backs of the thighs turn outwards. Fronts of the legs turn inwards, backs of the legs turn outwards. And then release. You get a belt, throw the belt around your feet and then hold on to the belt. And then feel that you can roll onto the front edge of the seat bones much more naturally when you're holding the belt. It's a bit like riding a horse. Keep the legs straight, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, lifting up into the heart area, roll onto the front edge of the seat bones. So we're going to come into paschimottanasana. It can be quite strong for a stiff back. It can feel nice for a stiff back as well, but it can be strong. So read your own back. Just observe how this feels right now. Lift up into the chest. Just feel how comfortable or otherwise your lower back is right now. So if you have got a stiff back, then you can just come into the pose, staying with the belt, and then just a little bit at a time, just come forward. But be cautious that that this can be strong for your back. So you just come forwards very gently, incrementally. As soon as you feel any kind of adverse effects, then you just come back to this stage. You've got to come forwards with a lifted sternum. So it's never trying to bring the head down. That's going to really do your back no good. So you lift up into the heart area. So you can put the belt, just cross the belt over. If you don't have a problem with your back, you can come forwards with your arms over your head. So corkscrew the legs, come forwards, keeping the head lifted, keeping the arms in line with the chest, keeping the arms lifted as you come forwards, keeping the head lifted, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, and then reach beyond your feet. Keep the arms lifted, don't drop your arms. Arms lifted, don't drop your arms. And then reach around the feet. Hold on to the feet and then lift up into the chest, into paschimottanasana. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Lifting the chest. If you can bend your elbows out to the sides as you come forwards a little more. You can reach around the outsides of the feet. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Lifting the heart area, pressing the legs consciously into the floor. Elevating the heart area upwards. And then gently come back to the center. And then come back to just this stage, holding onto the belt. Lifting up into the heart area, turning the fronts of the legs, lifting up into the heart, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Okay, and then release the belt and then come into cross legs. Holding onto your knees, lifting up into the heart area, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Draw your chin forwards and down to meet the chest. Lifting your chest up to meet the chin. And close your eyes for a moment. Just focus on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. So we have Jalandhara Bandha. We can also incorporate Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is where you lift the anal sphincter up towards the diaphragm region. So filling your lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. Just filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. And emptying them from the top to the bottom. Allowing the in-breath to slightly overflow the top of the lungs. Pouring energy into the arms and into the chest and into the legs. And then release Mula Bandha, release Jalandhara Bandha. And raise your head, just feel the energy, that latent energy around the chest, around the arms, around the shoulders, around the abdomen. Lift from the hips up into the armpits, elevating the heart area up to the ceiling. Drawing the abdomen towards the spine, drawing the lower ribs towards the spine. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across. Drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders. Using the out-breath to intensify the turn. And then come back to the centre. Hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest, and then turn to the left. Again, drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders. And then gently come back to the centre. So we're going to go into viparita karanhi, but with the bolster underneath the back, if you've got a bolster. So if you haven't got a bolster, then you can just use some cushions. So you're going to come down onto the floor, pull the feet in towards you, and then lift the seat bones up. And from here, you're going to come onto the tops of the shoulders, gathering the shoulder blades together, and then bring the knees up. And then if you want, you can just roll yourself up into shoulder stand, supporting the ribs, and then just gently guide yourself back down into viparita karanhi. So just find your viparita karanhi first, rolling onto the tops of the shoulders, gathering the shoulder blades together. So you could just stay in viparita karanhi, and that's absolutely fine, lengthening the legs up towards the ceiling. If you want, you can roll yourself up and then walk your hands towards the shoulders, towards the ribs, supporting the kidney region, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, corkscrewing the legs, tucking the tailbone in. If this feels strong in your neck, then you can put some folded blanket, a couple of folded blankets underneath your shoulders. So just when you're ready, you can come down from shoulder stand, or you can stay in shoulder stand. Just come into viparita karanhi. Just listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. So just using your time in inversion to activate the breath, just like we were doing in cross legs a moment ago. Just feeling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. So either with the body still in sarvangasana in headstand, or in viparita karanhi, I have to come down so I can see the screen, but you can stay for a little longer in shoulder stand if you prefer. So just a good amount of time in inverted poses is really beneficial for the immune system. Brings all that freshly oxygenated blood into the armpit region, into the neck, flushing fully oxygenated blood into the glands that support our immune system, our energy. So if you're still in shoulder stand, bring yourself back down onto viparita karanhi, just staying for a little longer. Keeping the legs corkscrewing in tadasana action. Okay, bend your knees, bring your feet back down onto the floor. Just stay with the bolster underneath you for a moment or two. Have the feet flat on the floor, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. And then just rest your arms over your head along the floor. Try and keep lifted in the chest. Can't stay on the tops of the shoulders, but just let the arms rest onto the floor above your head. Just listening to the breath. Just release your arms to the sides of the body, lift the seat bones, and then just guide yourself down onto the floor. Pull your knees in towards your chest, have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just ironing out any tensions in the back. Draw your knees away from the chest and you move down the back. Move your knees in towards the chest and you move up the back. So just find your sweet spot and just massage the back wherever you need to. And then roll onto your side, sit yourself up, and then just fold your blanket. Make sure that it's evenly folded. Have that for your head. And then just guide yourself down the centre of your mat. Let the feet fall apart. Make sure you're in a good straight line. And then allow yourself to completely release into the floor. Let the arms and the legs completely relax. Unhooking the muscles from the arms and the legs so that the body becomes heavy, but at the same time releasing the arms and the legs releases an irrepressible lightness that radiates from the bones and into the muscles, into the muscles, and into the organs. So just use your breath to distribute that energetic lightness throughout the physical body, throughout the organs. Just letting the body relax into the floor. Allowing that energy to radiate from the bones and into the muscles and into the organs, including the flesh and the skin. Using your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that energy down into the toes, into the fingers, and all the way up into the top of the head. Bringing the body back into this pose of shavasana, wriggling your toes, wiggling the fingers, bringing the body back into the pose, just observing that lightness of your energy, observing how your energy has changed. And then bend your knees, bring your knees in towards your chest, just one more little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then roll over onto your right side, just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg, come back up into the seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in namaste, a final spinal lift. Drawing the breath in through your nose and out through the nose. And then draw your chin forwards and down to make contact with the chest. Spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. Drawing the breath in through the nose down into the abdomen. Just acknowledging the positive energy you have built inside, and then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel like you've significantly changed your energy profile, feeling like you have given yourself good energy for your day. So thank you very much for joining me.